Welcome to our Homegrown Parent Deep Dives, where we explore the fears, habits, and beliefs that shape how we show up, not just as parents, but as people. We know parenting isn't easy, and sometimes it feels like the struggles outweigh the wins. That's why we're here, to help you uncover the patterns holding you back, embrace a growth mindset, celebrate your progress, and grow into the parent and person you've always wanted to be. If this resonates with you, hit subscribe, check out the links below, and visit homegrowparent.com for more tools and support. Let's take this journey together, one deep dive at a time.
So today we're diving into this Parents Growth Mindset Journal.
Yeah.
It's the 4-month program.
Mm-hmm.
And, the whole idea is balancing, nurturing your child, but also taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
Your well-being. And
yeah.
it really grabbed my attention because how can we pour from an empty cup?
Well, I think this is fascinating how the journal approaches this. It's not like
Yeah.
adding more to your plate. It's about
Right.
kind of shifting your perspective. And it seems to do that by encouraging us to really confront our fears,
Yeah.
develop a practice of gratitude,
Yeah.
and I think crucially, turn reflection into action.
It definitely seems to go beyond just thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, now we're actually going to make some tangible changes. And I noticed it tackles fear right away.
Right.
And I think a lot of parents, myself included, we can all relate to that.
Absolutely.
The fear of failing as a parent, the fear of not being enough.
Yeah, and so it really pushes this shift from avoiding the fear to seeing it as an opportunity for growth, almost like a signpost pointing toward personal development.
Right.
It's reminding us that we're not static. We are constantly evolving both as parents and as individuals.
Instead of saying, this is it, these are my abilities and they're fixed. It's like, no, we can embrace challenges and learn from them.
Exactly.
That's like the heart of a growth mindset.
It is, yeah.
And speaking of growth, Chapter 1 dives right into building a habit of gratitude.
Okay.
And, when we're stressed, it's easy to focus on what's going wrong.
Yes.
This journal seems to, flip that script.
Well, and that's what I think is so powerful about this is that it's not saying ignore reality, pretend everything is perfect.
No.
It's about consciously expanding our perspective so that we notice the good even when we're amidst, struggles and challenges. And that wider perspective, I think, can be really helpful for us to, sort of have a more balanced view of...
Okay, so there's this section called 20 Things to be Grateful For.
Oh, yeah.
And some are pretty straightforward, like, good health, the roof over your head.
Right.
But then there are these kind of unexpected ones, like past challenges. Why would we be grateful for past challenges?
Because challenges shape us, even though, even though they're difficult, right? They force us to dig deep. They force us to discover our resilience or strength. And when we look back and recognize how far we've come, I think that can be really empowering,
It's like, wow, I survived,
Yeah.
that I can handle anything.
Exactly.
Okay, and this one really got to me. It said children's laughter. And it's such a simple thing, but it's so heartwarming.
It's such a pure expression of joy in those little moments. They're like little reminders of the beautiful connection that we share with our kids. And it brings lightness even on the, the toughest days.
Absolutely. And then Chapter 2 takes us deeper with the power of self-reflection in parenting.
Ew.
And, I think a lot about how much our own upbringing, even subconsciously, influences our parenting style.
It's unavoidable, really. In this journal, it really pushes us to examine our, our why behind our parenting choices. It's about uncovering those maybe deeply ingrained patterns and, understanding how past experiences shape our reactions in the present.
Right.
That kind of self-awareness, I think, is so crucial to becoming more intentional and responsive parents.
Absolutely. It's like holding up a mirror, and not just to ourselves, but to our relationship with our child. And speaking of valuable insights, if you're finding this deep dive helpful, be sure to subscribe to the show.
Absolutely.
To explore all sorts of these fascinating topics.
No, what really struck me as valuable here is that this journal doesn't just leave us in a state of reflection.
Right.
It's like, okay, now take action. Apply what you've learned, and this is really what Chapter 4 focuses on.
Exactly. It's not about dwelling on our shortcomings, but taking those insights and translating them into concrete steps. And I think small, consistent changes can have a ripple effect on our lives.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, like one of the things that it suggests is establishing a regular bedtime routine for your children.
Okay.
It might seem simple, but the benefits can be really profound.
Yeah, I can see that consistent structure not only helps kids sleep better,
Yeah.
but it also gives parents that much needed time to recharge, even if it's just for a few minutes.
Precisely. Even a small window of time can make a world of difference in our overall well-being. And that, ultimately equips us to be better parents.
It's all interconnected.
It is.
And speaking of connections, we can't talk about a parenting journal without mentioning connecting with our children, which is really the central theme of Chapter 5.
Right.
What were your takeaways from that chapter?
Well, it really emphasizes the power of presence. It encourages us to be fully present with our children, not just physically, but emotionally. Put down the phones, minimize distractions, and really tune in to their world.
And the journal talks about active listening, and I think that's so key. It's not just hearing the words, but trying to understand their perspective. Even if they can't articulate it fully yet.
Right.
It's like sending that message. You matter. You're seen.
Yes.
And what you have to say is important.
And that can make all the difference in the world in terms of building a strong, healthy parent-child connection. And it also models good listening skills for them, something they'll need throughout life.
Right.
Beyond active listening, it suggests creating family rituals.
Okay.
Whether it's weekly game night or Sunday morning pancakes.
Yeah.
Those shared experiences can really contribute to a sense of belonging and connection within the family.
I love that idea. It's about creating those little pockets of joy and connection amidst the chaos of everyday life.
Absolutely.
But let's be honest, making any kind of change, even positive ones, can be tough.
Yeah.
As parents, we're juggling so much already work errands.
Right.
Just the general exhaustion that comes with parenting.
Exactly. Chapter 6 addresses that head on. It acknowledges those common barriers, lack of time, emotional fatigue.
Yeah.
It even talks about the difficulty of confronting challenging emotions, both our own and our children's.
It's refreshing that it doesn't sugarcoat things.
Right.
And pretend it's all easy.
No, it's real.
And instead of leaving us feeling overwhelmed, it offers practical strategies for overcoming those barriers.
Yeah.
I especially appreciated the emphasis on self-compassion and celebrating those small victories.
Yeah, it's a process, right? Change is a process. It's not, an overnight transformation. And so it really encourages starting small.
Okay.
Maybe committing to 5 minutes of reflection each day or identifying just one small
change to focus on each week.
What I find really insightful is that this journey isn't just about becoming a better parent.
Right.
It's about personal growth, becoming more mindful, more self-aware, and ultimately more resilient.
It's about showing up as our best selves for our families, but also for ourselves. And I think that's what's so beautiful about this journal.
Yeah.
It really blends the personal growth journey with the journey of parenthood.
Right.
And recognizes that the two are very much...
They're intertwined.
Intertwined.
Yeah. There's this quote that really struck me. It says, "Real change doesn't command hours of your time. It begins with a daily commitment to pause, reflect, and grow."
That's good.
And that, to me, just perfectly encapsulates the essence of this journal.
Speaking of digging deeper, Chapter 8 tackles one of the most fundamental human experiences, and that's fear.
Right.
Earlier, we talked about sort of reframing fear.
Yeah.
But this chapter goes even further and provides like a step-by-step guide to...
understanding and overcoming our fears.
So how does it do that?
Well, it starts by simply identifying the fear.
Okay.
Getting specific about what you're actually feeling, both physically and emotionally, and naming it. Sometimes just acknowledging the fear can make it feel less overwhelming.
So instead of just like a vague sense of dread, it's like, okay, this is fear of not being a good enough parent.
Right.
This is fear of public speaking. You're putting a label on it.
Exactly. And then it prompts you to kind of explore the roots of that fear.
Okay.
Like, when did it first appear in your life?
Yeah.
What purpose has it served? Has it protected you in some way? You know, that exploration can be really revealing.
I can see that. And then once you've kind of understood where it came from, the next step is separating fact from assumption.
Okay.
It's about challenging those negative thought patterns that often fuel our fears.
So, for example, if your fear is centered around not being a good enough parent, the journal might ask, what evidence supports this belief and what evidence contradicts it?
Okay.
So that process of questioning can help us to gain a more balanced perspective.
So you've identified the fear, you've explored where it came from,
Mm-hmm.
you've challenged those negative thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
What comes next in this process of?
Well, it calls it rebuilding. It's about creating a new framework
Okay.
for approaching that fear. So it might involve, developing a new mantra,
Mhm.
visualizing a successful outcome, or taking small incremental steps towards facing the fear head on.
So if your fear is public speaking,
Right.
you might start by practicing in the mirror,
Yeah,
then with a friend,
exactly.
and gradually work your way up to larger audiences.
It's about building that confidence through experience and proving to yourself that you can handle it.
Okay.
As the journal wisely reminds us, fear will always exist, but so will courage, and we get to choose which one guides our actions.
And that brings us to the practical side of things, like how to use this journal. What stood out to me is that it doesn't prescribe like a rigid schedule.
Yeah.
It recognizes that life as a parent is anything but predictable.
Right.
So instead of saying journal every day at 7 a.m.,
Mm-hmm.
it's like it offers gentle guidance and encourages you to create a routine that works for you.
Exactly.
Maybe it's finding a quiet moment in the morning,
Yeah.
during your commute, or even while you're brushing your teeth.
Right.
The key is to just make it a consistent practice,
Yeah.
even if it's just for a few minutes each day. And I love this little reminder that says,
Mhm.
celebrate your progress no matter how small.
It's a journey, right? It's a journey of self-discovery, and
Yeah.
every step, no matter how small, deserves to be acknowledged.
There's this beautiful line that encourages a shift in focus. It says, reflect on how you show up for them. Moments of joy, frustrations, lessons learned, and how you want to show up for them tomorrow.
Yeah, and that emphasis on connection, I think, really highlights the core of this journal.
Yeah.
It's about nurturing that bond with your family while simultaneously nurturing your own personal growth.
Okay, let's take a peek inside the journal.
Okay.
The first few pages really lay the groundwork talking about self-reflection,
Yeah.
setting intentions, cultivating a growth mindset.
Right.
There's even a quote from Rumi that I really loved. It says, as you start to walk on the way appears.
That's good.
It's like we don't have to have it all figured out before
Yeah.
we start taking that first step.
Right.
Often reveals the path forward.
Exactly.
And then, as we've been discussing, the journal dives into building a habit of gratitude.
Yes.
And I appreciate that it doesn't shy away from the hard stuff. It acknowledges that life is full of ups and downs.
Yeah.
And it encourages us to embrace
the full spectrum of human experience.
the full spectrum of our human experience.
Yeah.
There's a section called Gratitude Doesn't Erase Pain
Oh, yeah.
that I thought was really powerful.
It's about finding those glimmers of light, even in the midst of, difficult times.
Difficult times. And speaking of difficult situations, Steve,
Yeah.
the journal offers a quick tip guide for navigating common parenting challenges,
Okay.
like tantrums,
Yeah.
sibling arguments,
Yeah.
technology overuse.
Oh, wow.
Even those moments when we feel disconnected from our child.
Yeah. It's like having a wise friend offering support and guidance right when you
Really.
need it.
And what I found helpful is that it's presented in a clear, easy-to-follow format
Okay.
with specific examples and actionable steps.
Okay, good.
So the core of the journal consists of daily, weekly, and monthly reflection prompts.
Okay.
The daily ones focus on gratitude, self-care, connection with your child,
Right.
and even celebrating those small wins we talked about earlier.
Right.
The weekly prompts encourage you to take a step back
Mm-hmm.
and look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
How did you respond to challenges? What are you proud of?
Right.
What areas do you want to work on?
And then the monthly prompts are really an invitation to dive into
Yeah.
deeper exploration.
There's one prompt from month one that I thought was brilliant. It says, plan something fun with the family to practice some of our new skills in public.
Oh, I like that.
It encourages you to take what you're learning
Yeah.
and apply it to
Yeah.
real life situations
And to have fun while you're doing it.
and to have fun while you're doing it.
It's a reminder that parenting doesn't have to be
Yeah.
all serious business.
And here's something I found really interesting.
Okay.
The daily journal pages have a parent section, which is pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's a separate self section
Oh, wow.
with prompts that have nothing to do with parenting.
I love that.
And that, to me, really speaks to the journal's core message. It's like
It does.
nurturing our children begins with nurturing ourselves.
Yes.
It's recognizing that we can't pour from an
An empty cup.
empty cup.
Exactly. It gives you permission to prioritize your own well-being, which ultimately allows you to show up
Right.
as a more present, engaged parent. And I think that's what's so brilliant about this journal. It's recognizing that parenting and personal growth, it's
Sorry.
all connected. They're inextricably linked.
Now, this might surprise you, but the journal doesn't shy away from potentially sensitive topics.
Oh, really?
For instance, one monthly challenge asks you to reflect on divorce.
Okay.
And it's not about glorifying divorce,
Right.
but it's acknowledging that even these difficult experiences
Yeah.
can contain seeds of growth and transformation.
And it prompts you to consider how divorce, while undeniably painful, can be a catalyst for rediscovering yourself and building healthier dynamics, not just for yourself, but for your children as well.
And speaking of values, the journal also encourages you to think critically about your own values and how they shape your parenting choices.
Yeah.
It asks, do I believe that having a self-determined purpose or role is important to achieve happiness and fulfillment?
Wow.
It really challenges us to get clear on our priorities and live more intentionally. And that intentionality, I think, ripples out into every aspect of our lives.
Yes.
Including our relationships with our family.
Including our children. And month 3 has this wonderful prompt that encourages you to plan a meaningful activity with your child. You know, something that sparks curiosity and connection.
It goes beyond just spending time together.
It does.
It's about creating those shared experiences that foster growth
Yeah.
and learning for both parent and child.
And that leads into another really powerful reflection.
Oh.
How am I teaching my child that their actions have impact? And how does purpose give my own life meaning?
It's a beautiful way to tie together that personal growth journey with the impact we have on our children.
Yeah, it highlights the interconnectedness of our lives and the ripple effect of our actions.
This journal is full of these little nuggets of wisdom.
It is.
But I think the real magic isn't in the pages themselves.
Right.
It's in how you apply these ideas to your own life and your own unique parenting journey. It's like a treasure chest full of prompts and reflections. And what makes it truly powerful is that invitation to take action. You know, it's about bridging that gap between insight and, real world change.
And it emphasizes that those changes don't have to be monumental to make a difference, right?
Yeah.
It's the small, consistent efforts that really shape our lives and our relationships with our children.
One thing that really stood out to me is how the journal subtly shifts our perspective on parenting.
Okay.
It's not about being perfect.
Right.
It's about embracing the messiness and seeing it as an opportunity for growth for ourselves and our kids.
What I found refreshing is that it doesn't offer a one-size-fits-all approach.
Yeah.
You know, it recognizes that every parent, every child, every family is unique.
Right.
And the real power lies in adapting the principles and practices to your own specific circumstances.
And speaking of adapting, I think one of the most valuable takeaways from this whole deep dive is that focus on self-reflection. It encourages us to look inward, and examine our own beliefs and habits and reactions before we try to change our children.
Yeah, it all circles back to that idea of filling our own cup first.
Yeah.
You know, when we prioritize our own well-being, we're better equipped to show up for our children in a more present and authentic way.
Absolutely. This journal isn't just about becoming a better parent.
Right.
It's about personal growth, about becoming more mindful, more self-aware, and ultimately more resilient human beings.
And it reminds us that the journey of parenthood, with all of its, joys and challenges, is a profound opportunity for self-discovery.
Yeah.
It's about learning, growing, and evolving alongside our children.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I think it's important to acknowledge that this journey can be challenging at times.
Yeah.
But as the journal so beautifully reminds us, the 2 most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why.
And perhaps this journal, with its focus on self-reflection, growth, and connection, can help you uncover that why, not just for yourself, but for your family as well.
If you're feeling inspired to embark on this journey of self-discovery and mindful parenting, you can find links to the Growth Mindset Journal, our newsletter, and many other free resources for parents in the episode notes.
We believe that every parent has the capacity to create a more joyful and fulfilling life for themselves and their children.
Yeah.
And we're here to support you every step of the way.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
To show our appreciation for you as our listener, we've linked to some free resources to support you on your journey. Check out the links below and subscribe for more deep dives where we'll go deep on the issues that matter most to you. If you have a specific topic you'd like covered, leave a comment below and we'll do our best to help out. So until next time, stay calm, appreciate the moment, and look deep inside where you'll see yourself and your child.